Hello everyone, welcome to Big Data Thoughts. Today we would be discussing about data pipelines. This is a very important aspect when we are building any kind of a data platform, and we would discuss what we should keep in mind when we are building data pipelines. How will can we build healthy and more robust pipelines? So first of all, let's talk about what is a data pipeline, and then there are two broad categories. So a data pipeline is nothing but a way to consume data from a source and give it to a sink. And while doing that, while taking the data from the source and before giving it to the sink, there are a list of data quality rules, or there are a list of data transformations that we may want to apply. Now, to do this, we design a data pipeline. So when we talk about any kind of use cases, whether it is building a data lake or building a data platform for analytics, doing anything for that matter, which involves bringing in data and giving it to some sink, we would design a data pipeline. Previously, the term that was used was ETL, which meant extract, transform, and load. But now, since we last couple of years, we have been looking at distributed systems and we have been talking about big data, that term has changed from ETL to ELT, because we extract the data, we load it, and later we transform it. We do not transform and then load. So that's the distinction. In the big data world, we would call it as ELT, extract, load, and then transform, because there is no restriction on the type of data or the format of data that we are bringing in. We load everything that we get from multiple sources, and we do not want to enforce any schema while we are loading the data. That is why in the traditional world, we used to say schema on write, which meant that whenever data came in, before loading it, because we were doing the load first, we had to enforce a schema. All the RDBMSs had a schema defined, and the data had to fit into that schema in those columns, rows, and constraints. But in the distributed setup, in the big data world, we are talking about huge amount of data and variety of data. Hence, we say that we are first extracting and then loading, because there is no restriction on the type of the data, the volume of the data, or the way we want to store it. Later on, when we really want to consume and derive some information from that data, that is when we enforce a schema. And we can use multiple types of databases, NoSQL, in that also key valued or graph or a relational database, while we are transforming and loading that data later, just to infer. So that is a huge distinction between how the data pipelines were designed earlier versus how they are designed today in the big data world. These data pipelines can be categorized into two areas, either batch or stream. These are broad level categorization. Batch means it will be a periodic data pipeline which will run at a particular stipulated time and day. It can be daily, weekly, monthly, or any of the frequency. It is mostly, when we talk about batch, it is mostly a bulk read from any source, and the sources are typically file based or database based. But when we talk about streaming, we are talking about a different kind of a scenario where typically our data comes from queues or streams which are continuously pumping in data. This will require a lot of high throughput and low latency. So it involves having a different set of technology to get in that data. It can be, different cloud providers give different services. It can be Kafka or any other technology that we use. We have Spark streaming as well. And when we talk about batch, typically we'll either use Spark, or we can, earlier there were many other tools that were getting used like Flume, and other Scoop was used for databases. So technology set is different, and the way we are extracting data here is also different. That is why we have segregated it into batch and stream. Now, till now, whatever I spoke about was the very basic concept of what a data pipeline is, what types are there, right? Now let us look at what are the challenges. When we design data pipelines, they may be simple, medium, or very, very complex data pipelines. Pipelines that involve, when I talk about complex is pipelines that involve lot of data cleansing, massaging, and many transformations that we have to do over the data. We will do transformations, aggregations, etc. Right? Now, there can be multiple problems that we face while we are designing these data pipelines and while we are running these data pipelines. For example, I have categorized it into 3 buckets: data, performance, and health. Now, in the data area, if you look at, the biggest problem when we design a pipeline is identification of delta. That means whenever we are loading data, we will not do a full load every time. And I have spoken about this incremental data load in detail in a video. But essentially, there is a challenge to identify what changed in the data from yesterday to today. That can be a challenging job if there is no identifier in the source data to find out what really changed between today and yesterday. So that is one of the challenges. Another challenge can be data corruption. So we get a lot of data from multiple sources. While bringing in the data or while doing transformation, there are chances that the data gets corrupted, or there are data quality issues. The biggest issue that is seen in any data pipeline is the data quality issue. Because when we bring data from source, we have to ensure that the quality of data is good. If that doesn't happen, the whole point of bringing the data and transforming and giving it to the downstream doesn't make sense. The quality has to be checked, and if there is a problem, it has to be reported back to the source to fix it. We are not, whoever is building the data pipeline, that data engineer or the team is not responsible for the quality of the data from source, because they are not the data owners. So that communication has to go back to source and it has to be fixed. So that poses a lot of challenge. Then there can be scenarios where we have a loss of data while copying and bringing the data. So these are some typical challenges that we face on the data side while building a data pipeline. Second is performance. Of course, while we design these data pipelines, there are issues, memory issues, where memory is not sufficient because we are talking about huge amounts of data and joins and transformations on them. There can be long running jobs. Now that can be because of the performance of the cluster, it can be because of the configuration of the cluster, or it can be because of the way we have written our queries, the kind of joins we are doing. Maybe they are not efficient. So all of these things will cause performance problem. Third is health. How do we monitor the health of the pipeline? We may have designed a pipeline, we may have tested and deployed it, but now the challenge comes of monitoring it, keeping a track whether the pipeline is doing its job perfectly or not. For that, there has to be traceability, failure handling. If something fails, what happens? How do we get to know about the failure? How do we debug it? How do we trace the error? How do we trace the lineage of the data? And another thing which many a times is kind of missed out or is not paid that much attention is restartability. If a pipeline fails and there are tons of scripts that were running, how do I roll back whatever I have done, or how do I restart? Do I restart the whole pipeline, or I have a facility to start from where it failed? So these are some of the very big challenges that we face when we design data pipelines. So let us talk about what can we do to make this better. How can we ensure that the pipelines that we are designing are efficient and easy to handle and maintain? What should we do? There are two most important things that should be done or kept in mind when we design data pipelines. One is interpretability, and second, observability. Now, what does that mean? Observability means I need to have a way to observe my data pipeline and figure out how and when it failed and how do I come back or return back from their failure. Interpretability is to have the ability to understand. So both of these terms combined means that I should have a way to look at my pipeline, monitor it in an efficient way, come to know about failures either beforehand, proactively, and we have spoken in a different video about chaos engineering and all of that. How do I proactively fix the errors? But essentially, these two terms means how do we ensure that we can look at the data pipeline and find out what went wrong and kind of fix that problem and restart from where it failed, making it absolutely efficient in terms of maintenance and running those pipelines. And what can we do to ensure that both of these properties are well handled when we are designing the data pipeline? What are the ways? So there are a couple of things that we have to keep in mind, like idempotency, immutable data, and reproducible outcomes. Now these three are somewhat interrelated, which means let's say I design a data pipeline which is taking data from one source, taking it through different layers and giving it to the sink. Now, what happens if I accidentally run the pipeline twice in a day? It is supposed to run once, but I run it 2 times. Should it corrupt my whole data? No. Ideally, it should be idempotent, immutable, and reproducible. Meaning, if I run the pipeline multiple times also with the same set of data, the result should be same. It should not corrupt, it should not duplicate. That is what I need to ensure. How will I ensure that? I will have some timestamp or something which will tell me that this is the data that I took, I processed. Even if I run the pipeline again, my queries are not going to pick up and reinsert that data. So that is what we mean by idempotency or immutability. That is a very important thing to keep in mind. Otherwise, any kind of failure in schedule or rerunning of a job may corrupt the entire data. Then reproducible outcomes. When I design a pipeline, I should know if an input of data is in this form, what should be the output. The output should be reproducible and understandable. I should be well aware of how the data is getting translated, and I have to take care that whenever I run my ETL pipeline, the result produced is the same. Right? Then another property is data lineage. We definitely have to keep in mind and govern the data pipelines. We need to know what is the lineage of the data, which table. If I talk about lineage, there are different lineages, right? So we'll not go into the detail of business lineage or technical lineage, but essentially what that means is there has to be a traceability, there has to be a tracking of the lineage of the data. From where did it come, what transformation was done, what column was used, and what was produced. That lineage, if it is there, it is very easy to add any new source or to trace the problem, or even to do an impact analysis. If something goes wrong in this table for these columns, what is the impact of it going down? So that lineage is extremely important. We need to ensure that we are enabling easy diagnostics, which means that we have to have tools in place which can diagnose or capture my statistics for my data pipeline. It can be in terms of time, in terms of memory, in terms of CPU, or anything which makes my life as a data engineer, as a DevOps person, my life easy to monitor and diagnose the problems in the pipeline. One of the methods of doing that is logging, doing a proper logging, which will ensure, and I can have multiple ways. I can look at the logs, I can build some machine learning algorithm to read the logs, do anomaly detection. It is up to us how do we design it, but essentially logging will help us to do easy diagnostics. Then metadata capture. Now this will also come as a part of governance or lineage, where I capture metadata, whether it is business metadata or technical metadata for each of the entities in my data pipeline. Then test runs. It is extremely important before going into production to do test runs multiple times with different scenarios of data for my pipeline, because most of the time the data that we get in dev or UI test environment is not really exactly equal to production. It is very important to have an environment where we can have almost similar kind of data that is going to come in production. That way we can test all the boundary cases or scenarios or alternate paths that the data may have. If let's say the data is coming with some junk characters, the data has some special values, or there are certain conditions in data that will come in production, we can actually do a test run and do a thorough testing and run through all those scenarios. That will actually make our data pipeline very, very robust. One of the other methods can be to do chaos engineering. which means we intentionally put in some bugs or something so that we can test how it will behave if this kind of a scenario comes. So there are multiple ways in which we can figure out proactively what kind of errors can come. But essentially, we definitely have to have test runs done, and those can be automated test runs. We don't want to do anything manually. So there has to be a lot of automation built in our data pipelines, whether it is for capturing metadata or it is for ensuring the data quality is there by building data quality rules and running them as a part of the pipeline, or it can be using tools like there are multiple tools in the market which will help us to kind of monitor our pipelines, like Grafana, which will give us entire usage in terms of memory, CPU. There are all the cloud service providers have different kind of matrices built to track the performance of our data pipelines. Then CI/CD, of course, that's an important component, and these days we speak a lot about DevOps and building CI/CD automated pipelines, because there are multiple environments like development, testing, pre-prod, prod. So our pipeline has to kind of propagate through each of these environments and run there before going to production. So a CI/CD robust pipeline where we can integrate tools like SonarQube, etc., which will do analysis of the code that we have written in terms of code coverage, in terms of any kind of errors, and it will provide us matrices. So we can implement a robust CI/CD pipeline which has a very strong regression suite plugged in to do the entire testing, capture matrices, and do all of that in an automated fashion rather than running individually or manually. So we also speak about DevOps, or we speak out about DevSecOps, which means integrating even the check for security. Right? It can be penetration testing, it can be different kinds of testing, and we can embed all of that into our CI/CD pipeline. And last but not the least is monitoring and alerting. So there are tools like Ganglia and others which help us in monitoring, and we can set alerts if there are certain thresholds that we want to set on our data pipeline in terms of the kind of load we are getting, the kind of utilization of CPU, memory, etc. We can set those. That way it is easier for us to get alerts when something goes wrong. So these are some of the ways or some of the things that need to be kept in mind while we are designing our data pipelines. So I hope this gave you a good overview of how we build data pipelines, or when we build data pipelines, what we have to actually keep in mind. Thanks everyone for listening in. Please keep liking, sharing and subscribing to the channel. Thanks a lot.